Hacking games are fun, interesting games that put you in the shoes of a hacker and allow you to go through different computer systems to get what you want. And there are a lot of hacking games out there. So today we're going to be looking at the top 5 realistic single player hacking games that are available now. And these are games, these are not simulators that are online that allow you to learn how to hack. These are games that you can play to enjoy the hacking experience without the risk of actually getting caught. Starting with number 5, Uplink Hacker Elite. So Uplink is a role-playing game. It allows you to use UI controls in order to hack, so there's not as much typing as most other hacking games in this list would have. For example, in order to delete something, you use a deleter that you drag over the things you want to delete and they delete over time. The big benefit to this game is you've got the ability to upgrade your system and your computer and the server stuff so that you can get faster speeds and internet speeds to do things faster. The bad thing is that if you do actually get caught, the game is over and you have to start again. There are no second chances, and that's just the end of it. This is by far one of my most favourite hacking games because it's more light-hearted. It's not as serious in the way that you have to type or remember different commands and things like that, but it is also a really fun game that has been out for a long time. It still stands right now as one of the best hacking games around, and I kind of wish that the company that made it would have made a sequel, but they didn't. If you're looking to get into hacking in general and not take it too seriously, this would be a good game for you to get into. As I said, it's very light-hearted, it's all UI based, it's very easy to pick up and play. Next up we have HackNet, which is a terminal based game that was released in 2015. This game has a very simple interface. It teaches you terminal based hacking and it is very immersive and one of the good games when it comes to hacking in general. The premise of the game is you have to follow the instructions of a recently deceased hacker whose death might or might have not been an accident. The game is based around actual Unix commands and it focuses on real life hacking rather than the Hollywood style that you would see in films. Once you get into the game and you start learning the commands and learning how it works, then it starts to get fun and interesting. Obviously, if you are okay with this type of hacking. This is not a level based game, it's not like an experience based game. There's a lot of things that you learn and it doesn't really dumb things down, so it can have a bit of a steep learning curve if you've never played this type of game before. And I can speak from experience because I started this game not really knowing anything about it, then proceeded to spend the first 2 hours trying to figure out how to do the first mission because it doesn't really give you any hints or tips on how to do it. I resorted to go to a wiki in order to find out what I had to do, and that got me into the basics of the game. So if you're looking for something a bit more realistic, then HackNet is definitely the way to go when it comes to hacking games. Next up is NITE Team 4. This is a game that was recommended to me recently on one of my videos and I had a go on it, and I put this here at 3rd place on the basis that this game is a very serious hacking game. It's much more serious than Uplink and HackNet. It has regular missions coming into the game so you get new things to do all the time, but this is based on real life stuff and real life situations. This game does start off with a boot camp that actually teaches you how to do things, and you do use real life cybersecurity techniques and modules, including gathering, port scanning, fingerprinting, exploits, digital forensics, attack strategies. There's all sorts of things that you learn playing this game, and once you've got through the boot camp, then the fun really starts. The campaign itself has 4 fully voice acted campaigns, essentially 4 main operations that you go through, and it's not all about typing and things like that. You search through websites trying to find information and stuff, as well as do mini games and things to, progress through the story. It is a really fun game, and if you enjoy the previous 2 games, then you definitely would enjoy this one because it's kind of a mixture of the two. At number 2 we have Hacker Simulator, and it's pretty straightforward what it is. You can get up and walk around, that's the only difference between the previous games and this one, but again you use real life hacking methods in order to do contracts and get new programs and even upgrade your computer. So this game is probably the closest to Uplink and the way it worked with upgrading your systems, except for the fact that in order to collect your stuff you actually have to go outside and collect a box, which is kind of pointless, but it's there anyway, it exists. This is another game that uses real world techniques. It's above the other two games because it's a little bit more in depth in the way that you play it. It's a really fun game and it's got a really good story to it. Plus you have the ability to upgrade your system and other things and buy new programs and stuff like that. But anyway, the game itself is really fun. You have to do the exact same sort of things to get into systems as all of the previous ones. And as part of this one, I have to do an honorable mention to Anonymous Hacking Simulator, which seems to have taken some leaves out of the book of this game. This is definitely a very fun game if you like the more kind of realistic hacking games with a bit of arcadiness to it, and if you want it to be a little bit more relaxed. Of course, if you want to play some more stressful games, then the previous two entries are definitely the ones you want to go for. But this is definitely a bit more relaxed than the previous ones, and you have a little bit more time to do what you need to, as well as some other pointless things like, you know, cryptocurrency and stuff like that, which not so much of a thing these days. But you know, the big risk in this game is that if you do get caught, you can have a SWAT team turn up at your house and basically arrest you. So that's one of the downfalls. A little bit more careful, but it's definitely worth playing if you like hacking games, and especially if you like the previous ones. This is definitely one that you would enjoy. And this brings us to number 1, which is Greyhack. And though this is the best hacking game I've ever played, and I played it a while ago, I can also say that it is a multiplayer game as well as single player, so you do have the ability to play it multiplayer. And I'm going to talk about the single player portion of it first, and then go on to the multiplayer part, which I think is probably the best part of the game. And I know this is a list about single player games, but the multiplayer is basically single player but online. So in the single player mode to Greyhack, you play on a world that is created on your computer. What this means is that when you're not playing the game, everything stops and you can carry on another time without any risks. Like the previous games, this is a very realistic style game where you use a terminal and text things to go around and do things, but you have the ability to use Windows and other systems in order to open up things and transfer files, which makes it a bit easier because you don't have to just type everything that you have to do. This is an amazing game, especially when you keep in mind this game is still in early access. One of the best things about this game is the ability to actually write your own scripts. What this means is you can create exploits yourself by writing them within the system language in order to create things that you can just click and run on the spot whenever you need to. This takes away the whole need to have to type things in, and better yet, when you play the online mode, you can get these exploits from other players. And this is where it gets really fun. Now, everything that I'm about to tell you is essentially the same for single player, except for the multiplayer mode. It gives you the ability to attack other people's computers and other people's systems. You also have the ability to go onto a system where someone else has had access to it previously, check the logs, find their IP, and then connect to them and hack their system because they didn't delete their logs. This obviously means that you do have to clean up after yourself when you've been in a system, but overall this also means that when people have been into a system, even if they haven't been active for a long time, you can still find the logs in the system because it is a persistent world with servers and websites and everything running all the time. So you can find the IP address of someone, you can connect to it, find a way to exploit the security in their system and get into the system, and then start doing things like hacking their bank account and transferring money into your own account from their account, downloading any programs they have on their system and exploits onto your own system to use them for yourself. When I first started playing this game, I went in there very much like green. I did not understand what I was doing, I didn't understand where I was going, but I did manage to link up with someone on there who helped me to essentially get the things I needed to get access to a system. And this is because I hacked into a system that he found that I had left the logs there. So he messaged me and he gave me programs to give me a step up because he said that security wise my system wasn't that good. So instead of hacking me, he decided to help me out and put me a step up above other people by giving me programs and things that I wouldn't have been able to get otherwise. He also shared exploits with me that allowed me to put like a tracker onto a system. What this meant was that I was able to put a tracker onto a system whenever I hacked into a system. I could upload the tracker into the files, and then when anyone else connected to that system, I would receive a message that told me what their IP address was. This meant that I could just hack people without hacking other systems. I just got messages every single day that were telling me IP addresses of people that connected to the system that I had previously hacked. That then allowed me to wait a few hours, exploit their system, get into it, hack their bank accounts and take out their money. And because of the security that I was able to afford by doing this, I was able to upgrade my own security to protect my system so that I wouldn't get hacked by other people. Like I said, you can go into someone's system on this game and you can download every program they have. And I mean, like, you can go into a system and download these programs without having to worry about it. In any other game, when you start off, you need to earn money by doing jobs in order to buy programs and exploits and things that you need. But in this game, you can just hack into someone's system and download those programs for free. And that's what makes this game amazing. With the fact that people have created exploits to get through certain security and systems, you can download those exploits as long as they're on their system. That means that you don't have to buy them or try to figure it out yourself. You can start downloading exploits from other people in order to get past security and bypass people's firewalls and security so that you can get other things. Me and another person on this game were talking about a system that he couldn't get into. He had tried every exploit, every type of way to hack into the system and get through the firewall, and he just wasn't able to do it. So he asked me if I could have a look. And I am not a professional, and I am not a coder, and I don't understand most of what it was, and it was new in the game. Like I said, this person helped me out with some things. And so he gave me the IP address, and I went into the system, and I couldn't hack into it, I couldn't exploit it, I couldn't figure out a way around. By all means, this person that gave me the IP address is so much more experienced than I am, and then I cracked the system, and I gave him access to it. And he was confused, and he said to me, like, how the heck did you do that? And I told him, well, I went into the system and I just typed in the password. Now, I know what you're thinking, like, how the heck did you find out the password? Well, that's the thing. Everyone has passwords these days that are so over the top and very much complicated with letters and numbers and things like that. And if you just think about it for a second, I'm pretty sure that you could figure out what the password was to this person's system. And don't worry, I'm going to tell you. So after looking through this system, trying to get into stuff, trying to exploit the system, and it wasn't working, and he had all this security, I tried to connect by using the admin role, and it asked me for a password. So I typed the one password that is generally always the first thing that people use as a password, or is most of the time set up as default. And you have two choices. You have admin and you have password, and it was password. So this experienced hacker, or at least gamer, that was really good at this game, that built up all of this stuff over time and learned everything that he learned to be so good at, like, exploiting systems, couldn't get into a system, and some noob just comes along and then says, oh, well, I got into the system for you, I just used the password. And when I told him this, he said, what do you mean the password is password? And I was like, the dude used password as his password. And he was very frustrated because he said, I literally took 6 fucking days trying to get into that system, and I gave you the IP and you managed to get in there within half an hour by putting in a password, and it's password. And the key thing you need to know about this is that when you start the game and you start the online mode, it asks you to set up your username, your system name, and your password. And of course, as you're just playing the game, you think simple and just put it in. This person had got so good at the game that they managed to make their security unbreakable. Started off as a noob as well, and evidently he chose password as his password because it was easy to remember, not thinking that people would actually have to log into his system by cracking his password, which was one of the easiest ones you could ever set it as. But these are the types of experiences that I'm talking about when it comes to games like Greyhack. It puts you into this situation where there's so much you can do, and you can get lost in the game very easily. Like, I used to literally spend about 7 hours in this game per day, and then I realized, oh my god, I have stuff to do. And this was before I was doing YouTube stuff. This was when my free time was just basically going on to Greyhack and hacking. And that's why this is definitely number one on the list, because it took up so much of my time. You just have to be careful that if you really do get into it and you really do enjoy it, just be careful you don't lose yourself in the game. But also feel free to get down in the comments and let me know if there's any hacking games you've played that I haven't listed. I'd be very interested in trying them out, and if you haven't played Greyhack, get on there, give it a go, and let me know what you think of the game, because if you just take the time to learn how to play it, it will be one of the best games you've ever played, especially if you enjoy hacking games. Also, I've got a new goal of 10,000 subscribers, so if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button and also hit the like button so I know that you like my video. If you haven't seen it, check out my Anonymous Hacker Simulator video up here, because it's a good video and you should watch it. Other than that, all there is for me to say is I've been Lycan from Green Lycan Reviews. Thank you for watching my video, and I will see you in the next one.